Hello everyone who's joined. Today we are looking at questions from the last few chapters. So that includes areas of transfer pricing, divisional performance measures, and also like balance scorecard, not performance of not-for-profit organizations. We're looking at all of those areas, right? So let's go to the study hub first. Those areas are very theoretical but very important for section C, right? Because you can get a full 20 mark questions. You need to know how to answer the performance measurement and performance appraisal kind of areas, right? It's easy, but you need to know how to answer it, right? If you know how to answer it, then you can manage it.
I feel like from all of us, I think it's the same thing.
Yes, if you have learned evaluation and stuff, then definitely yes. Yes? Hello? Someone spoke? Performance measurement is what we are looking at today. Let's look at accountancy teaching. Could we do it? No, I don't think. Okay. Okay, let's look at this. Accountancy Teaching Co. AT Co. specializes in the provision of accountancy tuition courses in the private sector. It makes up its accounts to 30th November each year. 30th November each year. That's a year end. In the year 30th November 2008, it held 60% of market share. However, over the last 12 months, the accountancy tuition market in general has faced a 20% decline in demand for accounting training, leading to a smaller size on classes. In 2008 and before, ATCO suffered from an ongoing problem with staff retention, which had a knock-on effect on the quality of service provided to students. Following the completion of developments that have been going on for some time, in 2009, the company was able to offer a far improved service to students. The development include, now these are the developments they have done, a new dedicated 24-hour student helpline, an interactive website providing instant support to students, a new training program for staff, an electronic student enrollment system, an electronic marking system for the marking of student progress tests. The cost of marking electronically were expected to be 4 million less in 2009 than marking on paper. So they had this electronic marking system that they have installed. Marking expenditure is always included in the cost of sales. Extracts in the management accounts for 2008 and 9 are shown below. Revenue is given, revenue has decreased, cost of sales have also decreased, gross profit has however very nicely increased. Indirect expenses have increased, property related expenses have decreased slightly, staff training have increased significantly, interactive website running costs have been a new cost, student helpline running costs have been a new cost, enrollment cost has decreased significantly. However, total cost has increased, due to which maybe the net operating profit has reduced, right? On 1 December, management asked all freelance tutors to reduce their fees by at least 10% with immediate effect. Freelance lecturers are not employees of the company but are used to teach students when they are not enough of AT's own lecturers to meet tuition needs. All employees were also told that they would not receive a pay rise for at least 1 year. Total lecture staff costs, including freelance lecturers, were 41.663 million in 2008 and were included in the cost of sales, as is always the case. Freelance lecture cost represents 35% of these total lecture staff cost. In 2009, freelance lecture costs were 12.394 million. No reduction was made to course prices in the year, and the mix of trainees, students studying for the different qualification remained the same. The same type and number of courses were run in both 2008 and 9, and the percentage of these courses that was run by freelance lecturers as opposed to employed staff also remained the same. Due to the nature of business, non-financial performance indicators are also used to assess performance as detailed below. Percentage of students transferring to ATCO from another training provider. You can see that in 2009, a lot of people more students are transferring to ATCO, which shows that after the improvements made, there is a higher enrollment number. Can you see that? Number of late enrollments due to staff error have reduced. Percentage of students passing exam first time has increased. Labor turnover has significantly gone down by 3 times. Number of student complaints have also reduced significantly. Average number of employees have been quite the same. The thing is, our cost of increased profits have gone down in 2009, but there's been a very good improvement in student numbers. So, which means that in the future, our enrollments may be higher and profits may increase. Because of the quality of service, they may be able to increase the tuition fees as well. Assess the performance of the business in 2009 using the following headings. So we go heading by heading. First, the revenue, right? How will you assess the revenue? It's all about talking like how it has increased. What is that increase good or not? Is it a sustainable increase or not? Right? If it has decreased, why you think it has reduced? What you know? That's how you have to answer. What can they do to overcome the problem? Right? What is this linked to? Revenue has decreased from this much to 72.025 in 2008 to 66.028 in 2009. That percentage decrease, it's very good to always calculate it just in the calculator and show the percentage decrease. There's been a fall of 8.3%. That gives you marks. That's just, you can do it in the calculator and calculate it. However, this must be assessed by taking into account the change in the market conditions, right? Since there have been 20% decline in demand for accounting training, they have told you, right, that accounting overall 20% there's been a decline in students enrolling. But in their college, the revenue has only decreased by 8%. So compared to the overall market decline, their decline is not that great. Can you see that? So that kind of conclusion is very good to come to. Given this 20% decline in the marketplace, AT course revenue would have been expected to fall to 57.62 if it had kept in line with the market condition. Can you see that? If we want, the market fell by 20%. So ideally, AT's revenue also should have fallen by 20% to 57.62. But these guys, that didn't happen, meaning they have, the market condition, they have fought it well. Can you understand? Comparing AT Co's actual revenue to this, its actual revenue is 14.6% higher than expected. As such, AT Co has performed fairly well given the market conditions. It can also be seen from the non-financial performance indicators that 20% of students in 2009 had transferred over from alternative training providers. Can you see that? You have got more students. This may be because they have heard about the improved service that AT Co is providing. Hence, they are most likely reason for the increased market share that AT Co has managed to secure in 2009. So you have to comment on the revenue. So you don't just say it has increased this to this and just stop it. It's not like that. You have to talk about why it has increased, right? Compared to the market, how it is the increase good or not? Can you understand? You have to talk about what else can you link this increase to. From the case itself, maximum points that you can take, you have to always link this may be due to this, right? You have to write your answer in that manner to get the full marks. You can't just say that revenue has increased and then that's good. That's not what they're expecting. They are expecting you to give an overall answer. Compared in this given situation, how well have they done in terms of revenue? Cost of sales has decreased by 19.2%. That percentage decrease and increase, it's very good to calculate that, right? This must be considered in relation to the decrease in revenue as well. In 2008, cost of sales represented 72.3% of revenue, and in 2009 this figure was 63.7%. 1 minute. One moment. Cost of sales has decreased by 19.2% in 2009. This must be considered in relation to the decrease in revenue as well. In 2008, cost of sales represented 72.3% of revenue, and this figure was 60. And in 2009, this figure was 63.7%. This is a quite substantial decrease, they are saying. In comparison to revenue, the cost of sales have actually decreased. The reason for it can be ascertained by first looking at the freelance staff cost. It could be because the freelance staff cost, they have managed to reduce it, right? Because they spoke to the freelance tutors and told them that they are going to pay them lesser. In 2008, the freelance costs were 14.582, given that a minimum of 10% reduction in fee has been requested and the number of courses run by them was the same year on year. The expected cost for freelance lecturers in 2009 was 13.124. The actual cost was 12.39. These show that the fee reduction of 15% was actually achieved. So they have reduced that freelance lecturer's fee, due to which the cost of sales has mainly fallen. Now identifying that is what gives you the marks. Because for a institution, the cost of sales is the cost of the lecture, right? So lecturer's fee is included in the cost of sales. Can you understand that? So lecturer's fee falling has been the main reason for the cost of sales dropping. You have to identify that. That's what gives you the marks, right? So they might have given you bits and pieces of information all over, but your job is to get that in the right place and give the reasons properly, right? This can be seen as a successful reduction in cost. The expected cost of sale for 2009 before any cost cut was 47.738, assuming a consistent ratio of cost of sale to revenue. The actual cost of sales is only 42.056, meaning 5.682 million lower. Since freelance lecture cost fell by 2.188, this means that other cost of sale fell by remaining 3.494. They have also identified how much the other cost of sale has fallen by. Staff cost a substantial amount of this balance, but since there was a pay freeze and the average number of employees hardly changed from year to year, the decreased costs are unlikely to be related to staff cost. The decrease is therefore most probably attributable to the introduction of an online marking system. So even that online marking has led to a reduction in cost. ATCO expected the online marking system to cut cost by 4 million. Yes. But it is probable that the online marking did not save much as possible. It only saved 3.5. Hence, the 3.5 million fall. Alternatively, the saved marking cost may have been partially counteracted by an increase in some other costs included in the cost of sales.
It would be because lecturers are paid per hour. That's why.
They are saying no, that freelance lecturers they are going to pay lesser. They have said freelance lecture cost represents 35% of the total lecture staff cost. Here they said all employees were told that they would not receive a pay for the next year, the freelance guys. The total lecture staff cost including freelance was 41.663 in 2008 and were included in the cost of sales. Freelance lecture cost represents 35% of the total staff cost. So we have to take 41.663 into 35%. We will see how much.
So another reason why this cost would have
41.663 into 35%, 14.58 is the freelance lecture cost included in this 41.663. But the actual freelance lecture cost in 2009 was 12.394. So that means it has reduced by how much? 2.18. That's what it has reduced by. No reduction was made to cost prior to the year. So they have identified it very correctly that the freelance lecture cost have fallen, and that is the main reason for the fall in the cost of sales.
fall by 2.1.
Yeah.
41.
14, not 41. 41 is the total staff cost. In that 35% is only lecture cost in 2008. Okay. The remaining cost of sale has fallen, they are saying, because of that marking cost that has
So
fallen.
if we elaborate, what I was asking is, if we elaborate on the marking cost thing, that why marking cost has reduced? Would it be because of those lectures are paid?
No, marking cost has reduced because they have introduced the online marking system. So you don't have to pay markers, no? You can just mark it online. Like for example, MCQs are marked online, so you don't have to pay someone to mark it, right? Can you see that? Next one, they're asking to comment on gross profit. As a result of the above, gross profit margin has decreased from 27% to 27.7% to 36.3%. This is a big increase and reflects very well on the management.
How can this give marks? This is just.
They have not elaborated much on the gross profit because gross profit is affected by revenue and cost of sales. Can you understand? So we already detailedly explained about revenue and cost of sales. Can you understand? Indirect expenses. So indirect expenses they are asking you to comment on, and it includes a lot of expenses. No? So talk about everything one by one. First, they have taken marketing costs. These have increased by 42.1% in 2009. Although this is a quite significant increase, given all the improvements that ATCO has made to the service it is providing, it is very important that potential students are made aware of it. So marketing costs have increased, but it's a good increase because after they have done so much, you have to let others know, right, that we have improved. So it is something that it's a part-time parcel of that improvement. right? And are made aware of exactly what the company now offers. The increase in marketing costs have been rewarded with higher number of students, so it has been a worthwhile expenditure relative to the competition in 2009, and these will hopefully continue increasing next year, since many of the benefits of marketing won't be felt until the next year anyway. The increase should therefore be viewed as essential expenditure rather than a cost that needs to be reduced. So it's an essential increase, right? Property costs, these have largely stayed the same in both years. Staff training, these have increased dramatically by over 2 million, a 163.9% increase. Why? It is also needed, right? Because they have introduced a lot of systems. You need to train the staff. However, ATCO has identified that it had a problem with staff retention, which was leading to a lower quality service being provided to students. Also, due to the introduction of the interactive website, the electronic enrollment system, and the online marketing system, staff would have needed training on these areas. If ATCO had not spent his money on essential training, the quality of service would have deteriorated further, and most staff would have left as they become increasingly dissatisfied with their jobs. Again, therefore, this is the essential expenditure. You have to elaborate on that point and tell that these expenses are necessary. Okay. Then, given the number of student complaints has fallen dramatically in 2009 from 284 from 350. Student complaints have fallen drastically, right? The staff training appears to have improved the quality of the service provided to students, so it has been a worthwhile expenditure. Although the expense has increased, it's not a bad increase. Can you understand that? So this is what the examiner wants you to do, to assess the performance in terms of performance. So just because cost increase, we don't say it's bad. Can you understand? If it's a requirement, or if that cost is leading to higher sales or higher quality or good image, then you have to say that this cost was essential. So despite the cost increasing, right, it has been valuable to the company. Identifying that is what is important, right? Being provided to students. Next, interactive website and student helpline. These costs are all new this year. Can you see it's been incurred for the first time? It's been incurred last year. They had not incurred it. But again, that's important, right? I feel, because they have done well despite this. Being provided and visibly improved pass rates. Therefore, given the increase in the pass rate for the first time passers, pass rates have increased significantly as well. By about 12% it has increased. This alone 1 year. It has been only 1 year since they implemented. And still that improvement is visible improvement. It can be said that these developments have probably contributed to this. Also, they have probably played a part in attracting new students and improving revenue. Enrollment costs have fallen dramatically by 80.9%. This huge reduction is a result of the new electronic system being introduced. This can certainly be seen as a success, as not only has it dramatically reduced costs, but it has also reduced the number of late enrollments from 297 to 106. They have reduced the amount of enrollments as well. So this enrollment costs have reduced significantly. So that has been a good improvement, right? Enrollment costs have reduced. Why has that enrollment cost reduced? Because of the new electronic system, students are not enrolling last moment. Number of late enrollments due to staff error has reduced significantly. Due to that, the enrollment costs have fallen. So that number of enrollments due to staff error has also reduced. Why? Because of the new systems in place. So it's okay for them they have spent more, but the cost is totally justified. Can you understand? Then the indirect expenses, we spoke about it. Then finally the net operating profit. This has fallen. Now profits have fallen, right? Why? Because of the increasing cost. But there's a good thing. Our student numbers have increased this year in the first year alone. So despite profit falling this year, we could see higher number of profit next year, because more students get to know. Our quality of service, our ways of performing is all increased. There was a big increase in the number of students coming in from other institutions, right? So next year we're likely to see a bigger number moving. This has fallen. On the face of it, it looks disappointing, but it has to be remembered that ATCO has been operating in a difficult market in 2009. They told you market has contracted by 20%. Despite that, these guys are doing better. It could easily have been looking at a larger loss. Going forward, staff training costs will hopefully decrease, because now they're just training, right? Because it's new. But in the future, that cost also will drop significantly. Also, market share may increase further as word of mouth spreads. Everyone gets to know that they are better about improved results and service at ATCO. This may in turn lead to a less need for less advertising and therefore lower marketing costs. It is also apparent that ATCO has provided the student website free of charge when it should have been charging a fee for this. So first year it's part of their promotion cost, which has led to a lower revenue this year. The moment they start getting popular, and then they can charge for it. So although they are making losses now, their new system is likely to give them profits in the future. You have to identify this, right? The cost of running it are too high for the service to be provided free of charge, and this had a negative impact on net operating profit. Okay, so you know that this kind of a question can come for how many marks? 20 marks. Right? This kind of a question can come for 20 marks.
Something like this came them up like 16.
Yes, so you have to.
Question like this today.
These questions are easy, right? But the thing is, you need to always keep in mind that you're analyzing the performance. So you don't just say this has dropped from this today, this, and then that's not it. You have to talk about why it has dropped, what it may be linked to, right? What has led to this? How can it be overcome? Is this condition a condition that's only going to be this year, or is it going to continue to the future? Can you understand that? You have to talk about the overall picture in relation to the market. How have they performed? Sometimes they perform bad, but the competitors out and the market out is performing even worse. Then we say we are better than them. Can you understand? So you have to judge the performance in terms of conditions, right? And you have to properly, in terms of that particular situation, let's say they've made an investment now, then bad, like the first year they make the investment, we do not see results. Can you understand that? So you have to allow that, you talk about, you tell that to the mark examiner. You know that, right? Next one.
Just did you get time to mark?
No, I'm doing that paper. No, I didn't actually go to the website to take the mark scheme. I take the mark scheme for that. It's in the portal, you know, the mark scheme.
Actually,
And I didn't even see the question. You didn't send me the question. I had to go to the portal to mark it. So I didn't get to do it yesterday.
this topic related question only I did it and I sent you.
Yeah, I'll mark your one today. What is this? What is this?
It's like there was a confusing question in section B.
What is the question? I'll do that paper on Thursday.
Like it's, I think it's not
What was it on?
like revenue, the break-even revenue or something. I use the whole number of units. They have used the decimal number. I got the decimal number of units, like revenue.
Have they mentioned to give it to 2DP?
They have. That's why I was really,
I'll see that question. Wait. What is this one?
because I got the answer. Then I chose.
But that is the thing with PM. Suddenly in the paper there will be a question like that.
But they were like direct on what to use.
I'll look at that question. Assess the performance of business in quarter two in relation to changes in the company into the beginning of the quarter. This is 20 marks. Can you see this question? 20 marks. Let's do that. Webco is an online retailer of fashion goods and uses a range of performance indicators to measure the performance of the business. The company management have been increasingly concerned about the lack of sales growth over the last year, and in an attempt to resolve this, made the following changes right at the start of the quarter two. Advertising. Webco placed an advert on the web page of a well-known online fashion magazine at a cost of 200,000. This has a direct link from the magazine's website to Webco's online store. Search engine. Webco also engaged the services of a website consultant to ensure that when certain keywords are inputted by potential customers onto the search engine, Webco's website is listed on the first page of results. That's good. This makes it more likely that customer will visit a company's website. The consultant's fee was $20,000. Okay, they have made these changes. They have made sure that you're optimized on the search engine, right? The following incentives were also offered to customers. Incentive 1, a free fast-track delivery service guaranteeing delivery within 2 working
I
days.
think we all did this together.
I did it? No.
The number of visits to website and that and all.
No, I didn't do this question. For all continuing customers who subscribe to Webco's online subscription newsletter, a free fast-track delivery service guaranteeing delivery within 2 days for all continuing customers who subscribe to Webco's online subscription newsletter. Subscribers are taught by Webco to become customers who place further orders. Incentive 2, a $10 discount to all customers spending $100 or more at one time. The result for the last 2 quarters are shown below, quarter 2 being the most recent one. The results of quarter 1 reflect the period before the change, and the incentives detailed above took place and are similar to the results of other quarters in the preceding year. So quarter 1, then quarter 2 is after the change. You can see after the change, revenue has increased. In one quarter, it has increased by 500,000. Net profit margin has reduced, maybe because of the investment. Total number of orders from customer has increased. Total number of visits to websites have increased. Conversion rate has reduced. The percentage of total visitors accessing websites through magazine link has increased. Number of customers spending more than 100 per visit has increased. Number of subscribers has increased like 3 times. Right? So assess the performance in quarter 2 in relation to changes and incentives that the company introduced at the beginning of the quarter. State clearly where any further information might be necessary.
Like for these kind of questions, they kept right performance metric and those.
But this is not like that. No, this they're asking just to assess. They can give you questions like this also.
I feel like if
You have to assess the financials and non-financials at that point. You don't have to use any balance scorecard. They have not told you. You have to just assess one by one whatever you can assess here. Basically, you have to assess this: the net profit, the revenue, the net profit margin, total number of, like, every single point here. Each of this you have to talk about.
looking at this question, I feel like we can think about Uber Eats and do this. Like visitor to purchaser, that is like so accurate.
Total revenue first. Okay, so we are going. Can you see they have gone like one by one? They assess the total revenue, net profit margin, like that. That's how we do this kind of question, because it's not only financial. They're just asking you to assess the overall performance. Right? Web has made 2 changes and introduced 2 incentives in an attempt to increase sales. What are the 2 changes they made? First thing, the advertising. Webco placed adverts on the web page of a well-known online fashion magazine at a cost of $200,000. Huge. Webco placed an advert on the web page of an well-known online fashion magazine. So on their web page, maybe on the top itself, the advertisement was there. This had a direct link from the magazine's website to the Webco's online store. It's an online retailer of fashion goods. Right? Uses a range of performance indicators. They didn't have sales growth over the last 2 years. Now, because of that, they have done one thing. They have spent so much for advertising on a fashion website. Second one, they optimized their search engine. The incentives, they offered a fast track delivery to customer, and they also gave a $10 discount for all purchases above $100. Okay, keeping that in mind. Now, using the performance indicators provided, it is possible to assess whether these attempts have been successful. Total revenue has increased from 2.2 to 2.75. I told you all earlier also that percentage increase, decrease, do it. Do it. It gives you a mark. Can you see that one working mark is given there? Or they've said working one, the answer to be found in working one. You know how to do percentage increase, right? This is substantial increase, in 25% increase. Especially considering the fact that $10 discount has also been given. So despite a $10 discount, you still manage to increase your revenue, meaning it's a good thing. Right? Given to all customers spending $100 or more at any one time. However, because a number of changes and incentives have been introduced, it is not possible to assess how effective each of the individual changes or incentives have been in increasing revenue without considering the other performance indicators. Net profit margin. This has decreased from 25% to 16.7%. Now, that's a big decrease. In terms of dollar terms, this means that net profit was 550,000 in quarter 1 and 459 to 15 quarter 2. If the 25% net profit margin had been maintained in quarter 2, the net profit would have been 687,500 for quarter 2. It is therefore 228,250 lower than it would have been. So the net profit has reduced. This is mainly because of the 200,000 paid out for advertising. Big advertising expense. Advertising expense is expense in the income statement, right? So mainly the net profit has fallen by because of that huge sum of money they are spending on advertising. And the 20,000 paid to the consultant for the search engine work. The remaining 8,250 difference could be a result of the cost of the $10 discount given to customers who spend more than $100. Depending on how these are accounted for, alternatively, it could be due to the cost of providing the fast-track service. More information would be required on how the discounts are accounted for, whether they are netted off against revenue or included in cost of sales, and also on the cost of providing the fast-track service. Although it is not clear how long the advert is going to run for in the fashion magazine, 200,000 does seem to be a very large cost. That is the reason that the net profit is falling. So the thing is, can this advertisement generate longer term relationship with customers? Right? This expense is largely responsible for the fall in the net profit margins. This is discussed further on the number of visits to the website. So the problem is revenue has increased, but your net profit has fallen. Why? Because of a huge increase in advertising. But we have to think, like, in the future, like, can we double the sales, or will this advertising help us, or does it have to be a repetitive expense? We'll need more information on that. That's the thing. And so you have to keep spending that 200,000. If it's a repetitive expense, it could be problematic. Can you understand? Number of visits to websites. These have increased dramatically, an increase of 40,125 visits, 39.5%. The reason for this is a combination of visitors coming through the fashion magazine's website, and with the remainder of the increase most probably due to the search engine consultants' work. Both of these changes can therefore be said to have been effective on improving the number of people who visit the website of the online store. However, given that the search engine consultant only charged a fee of $20,000 compared to the $200,000 paid for magazine, in relative terms, the consultant's work provide more value for money. Actually, his work is more worth it because he didn't cost that much, right? The guy who optimized. Web sales are not really high enough to withstand a hit of 200,000 against the profit. Web conversions were how much? No, this is the website. Through magazine link, only 19.9% have come. That's a big amount, no? 20% almost customers have come through the magazine link.
Then you can check the discount.
Whether they have come, they have visited only.
Yeah, they have visited. We don't know whether they bought.
That's even like accidentally also people.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's that, is that 200,000 worth is what we are worried about now. In relative terms, the consultant's work provided value for money. Web sales are not really high enough to withstand a hit of $200,000 against price. It's quite high. Maybe they can look for another method of advertising actually. Number of orders, customers spending more than $100. That's the incentive they gave. Like, did that work out? They're trying to see whether that worked out. How many? A lot more, no? So I think that has worked better than that 200,000 they spent also. Number of visits to website. No. Yeah, that okay. The number of orders received from customers increased from 40,636 to 49,600, 22% increase. This shows that although most of the 25% revenue increase is due to high number of orders, 3% of it is due to orders of a higher purchase value. This is also reflected in the fact that the number of customers spending more than $100 per visit has increased from 4,650 to 6,390. That means 1,740 more orders who is spending more than $100. So for example, if each of these 1,740 customers spent exactly 100 rather than 50 they might normally spend, it would easily explain the 3% increase in sales that is not due to increased order numbers. It depends partly on how the sales discount of $10 each are accounted for. As stated above, further information is required on these. We need a breakdown on that, how that sale came. An increase in the number of orders would also be expected given that the number of visitors to the site has increased substantially. And it's like this, right? Because more people are coming to the site, also more people know about the discount. So sometimes the people who came to the site may have come from that web page also. This leads on to the next point. Conversion rate, visitor to purchaser. That's an important point. How many visitors were converted to purchasing? How many? What was the conversion rate? Can you see it has fallen? It has fallen. Right. Conversion rate of visitors to purchasers has gone down. This also could be that more visitors are coming in. Can you understand? Like they're coming through the website, they really didn't want to come in. Can you understand? Higher number of visitors are coming in, not with the intention of, coming to this website. This is not surprising given the advertising on the fashion magazine's website. Readers of the magazine may well have clicked the link on the click out of curiosity. Can you understand? And may come back and purchase something at a later date, but they might have not bought it now because they had no idea about this, right? They just saw it and they went there. So they never had that, they were not looking to buy, no. So they would have just registered, okay, there's a website like this. Clothes.
Why would wait? Why aren't they like when we explain the answers?
They are not asking about it. They are just asking about the conversion and stuff. No? Why do you have to mention the clothes? Fashion customers. This is not surprising given the advertising on the fashion magazine's website. The ones who came to the fashion magazine's website would have come for a different intention. They were not looking to buy things, no. But they would have just clicked the website. In their mind, somewhere down, they registered, oh, there's a website like this. But they just went through briefly. But they must have not bought. Earlier, whoever customer who came were looking for the website and coming, no.
Yeah.
So they were looking to buy. So there was a high conversion rate. Can you understand that? Readers of the magazine may well have clicked on the link out of curiosity and may come back and purchase something at a later date. It may be useful to have a breakdown of the visitors to purchaser rate. How many visitors from the website purchased? If they had given that, then we have a better understanding. Can you see that? Showing one statistic, they told to tell whenever you thought that they could have given more information. So here they could have told us how many visitors from the website purchased. Then we will really know whether that website was worth it or not. Who have come from the online magazine and one for those who have not. This would help clarify the position. Actually, if we had that information, we can make a clear conclusion. Whether that fashion magazine actually helped. We spent $200,000 there, no? Subscribers to online newsletters. These have increased by a massive 159%. It is not clear what impact this had on the web business, but we do not know whether the level of repeat customers have increased. Subscribers, why are they subscribing? Because next time also they want to keep alert. Again, they have not given us the number of repeat customers. This information is needed. Surprisingly, it seems that there has not been an increased cost associated with providing fast track delivery, as the whole fall in net profit has been accounted for. So one can only assume that web managed to offer this service without incurring any additional cost. That fast track delivery, they say has not incurred any additional cost. Mainly the net profit has fallen because of that web page and that construction of the optimization. The guy who optimized, we paid $20,000 and that discount. Conclusion, all of the measures seem to have increased sales, or in the case of incentive 1, increased subscribers. More information is needed in relation to a couple of areas as noted above. The business has therefore been responsive to changes made and incentives implemented, but the cost of advertising was so high that overall profit have decreased substantially. We have to highlight that. The expenditure seems to be high in relation to the corresponding increase in sales volume. You have to say that, right? We need information about how many guys who are coming from that website are purchasing. So we can see whether that website advertisement is actually worth it or not. Because removing it might be sometimes more profitable for us. Can you see that? We need to see how much of increased sales is coming from that website to make a better conclusion. Whether that website advertisement is needed in the future or not. Right. Then let's go to a new question.
8 marks.
38 marks for section. You have passed section A and B, that means 38 out of 60. But it depends on the marks you get in section B, whether you pass the paper. Sorry, section C. Yeah. So you will need at least 12 marks there. You feel you can get that? Then okay. Let's see, I'll mark yours today. In the break, I'll look at it.
Yes, there was a sales mix variant question.
Okay.
I used the standard selling price, but then the marketing scheme had used the contribution.
But there was a
Sales mix variance.
okay.
And in the end, I used the sales price, selling price, But they have used the contribution.
You have to use contribution, right?
But then like usually they write sales mix contribution variance, right?
But what have I given in the format? To use the contribution, right?
Increase.
Yeah, you have to use profit if it's absorption, you have to use contribution if it is margin.
Yeah, they think it.
It's okay, you made a mistake, you'll not make it again, no problem. That's true. If you make a mistake, that registers more in your head. You will not do that error again.
Give me a
But then how many marks would I lose?
You lose all the marks, you will not get it. If
I mean,
section
working-
C,
Yeah.
section C working, they would give sometimes, but we are not very sure that how that working marks are given.
get into existing working and learn and come and leave it.
We know a general idea, but that, like, that breakdown of section C marks.
Basically, what they should do is they have to keep everything. Like they have questions. That is OT
Yes, Tufa, Amna, yes. Yes.
Is it transfer pricing when you use RI, it's more into gold converts, right?
RI, yes, RI supports goal congruence better because it increases the net profit or the net return for the company as well as for the division. So, yes.
When there is like two cost of capital given, like overall company is different and division is different, then how can we like take which cost of capital we need to take?
Which question was this?
No, it was a quiz, first quiz in that, but I just connected it with the project question. And when we give a project, we have to see the cost of capital. If return is greater than we are taking. So when two cost of capital given, so which one I should take?
Have they given in a question like that? Because in general, they'll only give you one cost of capital because there can't be two cost of capitals. One cost of capital.
Cost of capital is given like part C and everything.
Yeah.
And this one is they have called the cost of capital division and then the overall company sales will be different, like 14% and 13%.
Can you tell me which question that is? It's in a quiz.
Yeah, quiz first quiz.
Quiz number.
In transfer pricing, quiz 1.
Surprising.
But the question is, they have asked to find a ask us to find a R.
Yeah, but still, why have they given two? Wait, I'm just putting random answers. Where is it? This one? Which quiz? Practice. Where is this question, dear? This one.
Quiz.
Quiz or practice? Quiz didn't have. Send me that question, I want to see. Because I generally.
Should I send you a screenshot?
Yeah, send it to me on WhatsApp. Let me look at that question. I just want to see the question. Because why would they give it like that? Generally, one cost of capital only will be given for the division and the company. They will not give two.
Again, variances do we have to write favorable or
What?
variances do we have to write favorable or we put minus and stuff?
Variances, if you put minus, but still write adverse favorable. Let me see this question.
Okay, now I'm seeing.
Yeah, I got it. Plastics division of Ladmar has just reported divisional return 30% for the last 12 months. The capital employed in the plastics division is given. Company's overall return on capital employed is ROCE. Company's overall ROCE is 18% and the overall cost of capital is 15%. The plastics division's cost of capital is 13%. They have specifically told you the plastic divisions is 13% and the companies, yes, they have given two. But look at the question, they're asking what is the plastic division's residual income. Then we have to use that division's income, division's cost of capital. because they have specifically told you to find the plastic divisions, and they have specifically told you plastics divisions cost of capital is this much. Then for that division, because we are looking for, we have to look at that division's cost of capital.
So, ma'am, can they connect this one to the project question? Usually they ask like if the
Yeah, even if they have given like that in a project question and they have specifically told, no, this division is this much, this division is this much, then for that division you have to use that division ones in case they give it like that. Right. Individual divisions, we have to use that divisions one. Easy Air Co was founded 7 years ago and is one of a growing number of low-cost airlines in the country of Shania. Summarize financial information for the most recent financial year is provided below. What was Easy Air's return on capital employed for the year? Tell me, or calculate and tell me. How do you calculate return on capital employed?
Operating profit.
Operating profit is profit before tax or after tax? Or is it operating profit? Yes, exactly. Operating profit divided by is capital employed directly given here? Where? What's the capital employed? Capital employed, how do you calculate?
300.
400.
What's your balance sheet? How do you balance it with the non-current liabilities?
Equity.
Plus equity. Non-current liabilities plus equity if you are taking that way. It's 2,400. So what's your return on capital employed? Operating profit divided by 2,400. They have said nearest percentage. So 29%. Pay attention to what how they ask you to give the answer. To give it exactly like that. Oh no, what did I do? I skipped it. Yeah.
Yeah. Set turnover.
I skipped it. What was this? 20? What is the asset turnover ratio? The EasyAir's asset turnover has been calculated as 1.9 times. What was EasyAir's operating profit margin? How do you calculate operating profit? Operating profit margin is operating profit divided by revenue. But do you have revenue here? No. Then what's the other way to calculate it? Remember they gave you that connecting ratios. What's that connecting ratio?
Asset turnover plus profit margin is equal to capital employed.
Wait, what is it?
Multiply with
Asset turnover multiplied by NP operating profit margin is equal to ROCE, correct? So asset turnover is 1.9 times, that into the operating profit margin is equal to ROCE. How much did we get? 29. So what is it? What is X equal to?
You can find revenue too, right? Asset turnover into equity. Asset turnover into capital employed because we have capital employed.
We can find net profit. We already have the profit. We need revenue. How do you find revenue? Okay. The asset turnover. Yeah, you can do that. But this is the
This also
this also will go wrong. Yeah. So if you want, you can find the revenue and do it. Well, asset turnover ratio is 1.9 times. That means how did they find asset turnover?
1.9 into 2,400. And that divided by that below.
So what do you get then?
Right.
What do you get for operating profit margin? Do it that way also and see.
5.7%.
0.7%. How do you get asset turnover? What's the formula of asset turnover? So what was your revenue? 4,560. Yeah, so you get 15.3% whatever way you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you did it this way, but ideally this is the shortcut method. That but here thing is, if this 29% is wrong, this sum also goes wrong. If you're doing this, how do you enter in the calculator? 0.29 divided by 1.9. Why 0.29? Because it's percentage. So it comes as 0.1535 0.1535, meaning 15.35%. Nearest percentage, we take it as what? 15. You can do it both ways. Actually the second way is more better, because your answer will not go wrong. It's not affected by the first method. Easy Arco has a cash balance of 100 million at the end of the year. The finance director believes that this should have been used to repay some of the non-current liabilities on the last day of the year. However, this was not done, and the financial statements above reflect the fact that the liability was not repaid. What effect would repaying the non-current liability on the last day of the financial year have done the following financial ratios? If you repay the non-current liability on the last day, what happens to the ROCE?
It will increase.
Why? Because the capital employed amount will fall. That will increase the ROCE. Okay, I'm going with your answer. The return on equity. What will happen to return on equity? How do you calculate return on equity?
Return, revenue.
It's no effect, is it?
Yeah,
Revenue over capital employed. No? Equity.
revenue over equity.
That is asset turnover, revenue over capital. Will there be effect? No effect, because equity. How do you calculate return on equity? Profit before tax divided by equity. Equity doesn't change, right?
This area, I find it really
Manageable.
no,
Difficult.
because I don't memorize, but now in FR I have these equations as well.
So it's helping.
I think that's
Easy Airco is considering introducing the balance scorecard to allow the airline to monitor performance effectively. Which three of the following are advantages of using the balance scorecard for monitoring performance? These areas are very tricky, so you have to keep properly think and do it, right? It aims to measure a wider range of aspects of performance rather than just focusing on financial aspects. Performance measures are linked to objectives which are based on the organization's strategy.
Yeah.
Is that the overall concept of a balanced scorecard? Performance measures are always linked to objectives which are based on the company's strategy. Is that directly related to balanced scorecard? Let's keep it for now. If there is no other option, let's come to that. It focuses management attention on value for money objectives. It measures the organization's performance from the perspective of a wide range of stakeholders. It contains a small number of key performance indicators, ensuring that senior management focus on the important areas of the business. It prevents the manipulation of data by managers. Last one, yes, because bad performance is hard to hide. What's the other correct? What do you think, Azmut?
it could be C.
What are the perspectives that are there? Customer perspective, financial perspective,
The thing
learning
is,
and growth.
stakeholders, they don't do a wide variety. Wide range.
Only customer
They are very
perspective is
specific.
considered. And stakeholder, financial. What do you say, Amna? What would you have gone with? Performance measures are linked to the objectives which are based on the organization's strategy.
I don't think it's D because they never look at C.
It's not D, but B. Means maybe we can go with C, like he said.
What do you say?
I think
Let's go with Amna's
it's
B.
very
Wrong.
B
D
is
is
correct.
right. F is wrong. The correct answer is A, B, and it contains a small number of key perform. It prevents the
It
manipulation
doesn't
of data.
prevent it, right? Just
It can bad performance is bad to hide, but doesn't mean it prevents. Can you understand? The word prevents puts that off. Performance measures are linked to objectives which are based on the organization strategy. Yes, whenever they spoke about balanced scorecard, they also spoke about the company's objectives and how we are trying to use the measures of the balanced scorecard to achieve our overall objectives. So yes. E, it contains a small number of key performance indicators. Why? For every single perspective, we took a key performance indicator. We looked at, the aim for each and how to measure that. Right? Ensuring that they are focusing on similar areas. Why F is wrong is because it doesn't basically prevent. It can avoid bad performance, but it doesn't prevent.
it's not like a measure.
It's like, it says that bad performance is bad to hide, but doesn't mean it prevents bad performance, right?
Still possible.
It's possible.
I think I did. These kind of questions.
Which four of the following are perspectives of the balanced scorecard? No, customer, internal business process, innovation and learning.
This wide range of stakeholders might strong
Because they only look at what do you say? They look at I'll tell you. Why? Because they look at customer perspective only, no, and financial they are looking at. So we can say that they are looking at financial perspective. They are looking at. So we can say that they are looking at stakeholder, shareholder perspective, and then only customer, right? There is no employee perspective in anything. So it's not a wide range. One of the criticism is that it only considers the interest of two stakeholder groups: shareholders, that's the financial, and customers, customer perspective. Can you see that? The interests of other stakeholders, such as employees, suppliers, are largely ignored. So it's not looking at all. Wide range meaning plenty, right? It's this is only looking at two stakeholder groups. That's why it's wrong. No? Okay. Amna, how far have you studied? Have you finished everything? Like, are you practicing questions?
Yes, I have finished everything.
Okay.
I did the mock as well.
The mock on the on the portal
Yeah, I got only 60 marks.
out of 100.
Yeah.
What was the question that you struggled with?
I'm really good at A and B, but I'm struggling in parts here. I'm working for that miss.
Patsi, you marked it yourself.
Yeah, I marked it myself, like, but I scored them little lower than what they have given.
You scored them a little lower, so maybe you can score more, no?
Mm.
What about section B? Did you struggle with that third question?
But I had like 4 careless mistakes.
Okay.
Like in the decision tree question, I didn't see the minus in that branch, so I added both. I missed like 3 questions.
Okay. So some questions you feel like you would have, done it better if you had not been careless.
Yeah, yeah. Like rounding off errors, I had to marks one.
Okay. Rounding up.
Yeah, I have to be little careful. on
You have to be very careful. That's the thing. When these questions, they will clearly tell you how many decimal places to give, whether to give to the nearer. Don't miss those marks because 2 marks you will lose.
Yeah.
And it's not a mark that you want to lose, right? So be very careful in
I
that.
attempted mock than you same, but that was I attempted. And
Okay.
it was good. I only corrected the part A, it was good. Part C, I didn't correct it. A and B, I corrected.
How much did you get for that?
It was good, like 48, I got.
Out of 60. Amna, you have a prize, no, for one subject. Are you the one with the prize?
81 marks.
Yeah, I heard. Did you got a prize for it?
No, I didn't get a prize.
But you had 81, no? That day I was going through. Oh. So just keep practicing, right? And did you do FR?
Yeah, I did it.
Okay. Keep practicing and avoid the careless mistakes, okay? And don't get, what do you say, nervous. Try to keep calm and do the paper.
Part C, I'm pretty struggling. Like when there's equation, I try to write everything like A equal B plus X. So I spend so much time on writing the equations and substituting things.
Okay, so you try to understand that. Part C, what kind of questions are you struggling in?
Performance is okay, like performance measurement and all those part is okay.
Okay.
Variance also okay. Variance and ability, like small problem in planning and operational variances. Sometimes I struggle for how to work on it.
Okay.
And then that question, relevant costing, risk and uncertainty, sometimes I miss marks. Like I get 10 out of 20.
So you're struggling with that kind of questions.
So I'm working on
Yeah,
that.
try to practice more on that. If you have doubts, WhatsApp me, right?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Problem. How about transfer pricing? How is transfer pricing for you all? Manageable? Trying to look for a question on
Is this one or what am I going to break?
what is the time now? We'll finish one more question and take a break. Okay, let's look at a question on transfer pricing. Shall we look at a section C question on transfer pricing? Because everyone's saying section C is the tough one. Section C is the tough one. PSCO and there's one called BRISCO. Abel and Baker we did, no? Abel and Baker we have done. Washco. Let's look at this. This is ABC costing with transfer pricing. That won't, that you all will not get, you know. ABC costing will not come in section C.
That's so sad.
ABC, here now the new syllabus is that costing will not come in section C. But still try this question, it looks like a good one. But
It's under those not text and style questions.
yeah, it's under that. Additional non-exam style questions.
Miss, the questions that PPIM has given us like 180 questions.
Yeah, this we did, right? Same thing like this. Bathco is same to the Abel and Baker. So similar. This is very similar to what we did. Then I'll do section, what do you say, section A itself. Section B itself. It's very similar to this. Portable Garage Co. and Bathco is almost same. Okay. Let's look at this Mobco. Mobco manufactures electronic mobility scooters. The company is split into two divisions, the scooter division and the motor division. Division M supplies electronic motors to both Division S and to external customers. The two divisions run as autonomous profit centers. Division M has the freedom to decide how many motors to sell to Division S and how many to sell to external customers. Division S may buy motors externally or from Division M. Details of the two divisions are given below. Division S's budget for the coming year shows that 35,000 electronic motors will be needed. An external supplier would supply these to Division S at $800 each. Division M has the capacity to produce a total of 60,000 electronic motors per year. Details of Division M's budget, which has just been prepared for the forthcoming year, as follows. Budgeted sales volume 60,000, selling price per unit for external sales of motors 850, variable cost for external sales 770. Variable cost per unit of motors sold to Division S is 30 per unit lower due to cost saving on distribution and packaging. Internal variable cost is different. Maximum external demand of the motors is 35,000 units per year. That means how many do they have available to sell to these guys? Shall we just do a map first? Who is selling to whom? Raining outside. Let's look at a map. What's happening here now? They're selling motors. The company is split into two divisions, S and M. M supplies electronic motors to S and to external customers. And the two divisions run as autonomous profit centers. M has the freedom to decide how many motors to sell to S and how many to sell to external customer. S may buy the motors either from M, so they can buy it from here internally, right? Or they can even get it from outside. SS budget for the coming year shows that 35,000 electronic motors will be needed. They need how much? 35,000 they need to buy. M has external sales of how much? 35,000 external sales. Total capacity of production is what? 60,000. So how much can he sell internally? If he gives priority to external sales, how much does he have to sell internally? Only 25,000. Can you see that? So 25,000 they'll be okay to give to S, but the remaining 10,000 S has to buy from outside then. But we have to see what is M prioritizing. If external sales revenue is income is greater, he will first sell externally, right? And second priority to internal spare capacity. If the transfer price for the motor is set at 760 per motor, externally they are selling for 850, right? External contribution sales is 850. External variable cost is 770. What's the external contribution? When they sell externally, what is their contribution?
80. Yeah, 80.
80. Internally, if they sell, what is their contribution? Internal selling price, if it's 760, internal variable cost is how much? 770 minus 30. 740. So internally, when they're selling only a $20 contribution. So what is their first priority? External. If the transfer price for the motor is set at 760, how many motors per year will M be willing to sell to S? Only the 25,000, correct? Only that extra. Because their first priority is what? External sales, right?
When is the PM exam?
You all don't know still. I have not
Wednesday.
Wednesday. How many motors should M supply to S in order to maximize group profits?
25,000.
25,000, right?
Is it research like that? What?
I don't know. This will not come otherwise. For group profits also, first priority should be this. But wait, we have to see if they are buying outside. How much are they buying for? External guys selling to S at how much? External supply could supply this for 800. Correct. Internally, when they are buying, when they are making it, it's only costing 740. So if they buy it, they are saving 60. Correct. So if they transfer, if they buy it, they are saving 60. But if they give up on external sale, they are giving up 80. Still external sales is better, right? So that means they should still prioritize that. So they should sell how much internally? 25,000. Even to maximize group profit, it's better to sell that only internally. Not move. Why isn't this moving to the next part? I have not put it here. I don't know. Assume M has the capacity to produce 28,000 motors. Head office has now introduced a new policy stating that M must sell 35,000 motors per year to S. What? Assume M has spare capacity to produce 28,000 motors. How come? That means it's not 60. We are just seeing that M has spare capacity to make 28,000 motors. Head office has now introduced a new policy stating that M must sell 35,000 motors per year to S. They only have 28. But if M wants, okay, they're talking about the extra. Okay. Just the extra, right? Spare capacity. If M wants to set a total, if it wants M to set a total price for all the 35,000 motors, what is the minimum transfer price M would be willing to sell 35,000 motors to S at? It will be the variable internal variable cost. Internal variable cost plus what? Plus what? Opportunity cost from external sales. Lost opportunity cost.
So that's going to be just for 7, which we don't have.
Total transfer price they are asking, no? But wait, they are saying MS spare capacity to produce 28,000 million. So that means 28,000 anyways they are going to give to these guys. Okay. Yeah, so only for 7,000 there will be a lost opportunity cost. Yeah, okay. So for the first 7,000, for 28,000 there is spare capacity, right? For the one that has spare capacity, they will transfer at how much? 28,000 into they will be willing to transfer at simply the internal variable cost. Because that they have spare capacity. What is the internal variable cost? 740. That they are okay to sell at that price, correct? But the one that they have no spare capacity for, that is how many? 35 meaning 28, okay. 7,000, no? That 7,000 they will be willing to transfer at the internal variable cost plus the lost opportunity cost, which was how much? 80. So how much? What's the total transfer price then? This is 1 moment.
I got an answer.
What I am confused is about, are they asking the total value? Yes, calculate this. They're asking the total transfer amount, the total value. Getting big amounts, no? 28,000 into 740. 20.
We put comma.
Yeah. No, better not. In the box, if you're putting, don't put. 740 plus 80 into 7,000. How much is it coming to? 26,460. Correct, right? That's the answer. Can you see that? Why? How? Same thing what we did, they did. So 28,000 at 740, 28,000 at 740, and the remaining 7,000 at 740 plus 80.
Meaning 7,000 up
How did I get this 7,000?
from my from the
35,000, no? They want to sell. In that 28,000 already spare capacity is there. So the spare capacity we value at the internal variable cost. The other 7,000 they will not be able to sell outside. So that other 7,000 that they are selling internally, they are incurring the variable cost and also they are giving up an opportunity cost. So that we are valuing at the higher price. Okay.
yeah, but the 35,000, why have they given like the 28,000 is the extra spare capacity, or we are forgetting about that 6,000 thinking we only have 20?
They are saying that the spare capacity is 28. That means more than that, if they are selling, they have to stop the internal sale and sale. The external sale and sale. This is the extra they have. After selling externally, the extra amount they have 28,000. Earlier extra amount was 25, no? Now they are saying the extra is 28 after selling externally. So if you are selling more than 28,000 internally, you have to give up from external sale. Which three of the following are objectives of a good and ethical transfer price? To ensure that decisions taken by divisional managers are in the interest of the organization as a whole. To assist managers in budget preparation. To give divisional managers autonomy in making decisions about trading with other divisions. You have to give them autonomy. To encourage divisions within an organization to trade with each other rather than buying or selling externally. To allow a fair measure of divisional performance. To transfer profits in low tax jurisdictions. So the three we selected, right? Correct. With that, we'll take a break, and after the break, we'll continue. It is 3:20. Come back at only 15 minutes. 3:35. 3:35. Be back, okay?